Good afternoon. I'm going to share with you how to make paper puppets today. Very simple paper puppets for which you don't need much material. So let's begin by looking at what we need to make these simple paper puppets. Some basic stationery like a glue stick, a pair of scissors, a useful black pen that will allow you to draw almost anything, rulers for measurement if you need that, and almost any kind of paper will do. So you could use newspaper, colored paper, white paper, and lots of little scraps of paper. Always save your paper scraps. They're extremely useful for craft. Every time I use paper, I keep in mind that a tree has been cut down probably to make that paper. So I try and be as careful and frugal as possible when it comes to using paper because we all have to do something for our environment, don't we? And so, speaking of environment, what I'm going to demonstrate at the start is how to make a little bee puppet. Bees are great environmentalists. We have a lot to learn from them. To begin with, they are very, very hardworking. Then they go from flower to flower collecting pollen. But they don't harm the flower in any way when they take that little bit of pollen. In fact, they help the flowers to pollinate, and we get fruits and vegetables from that. And then they work very hard to make more than 2 or 3 times the honey that they need. And so we get some honey from them as well. So let's begin with a basic bee puppet. All the puppets that I'm going to show you at first are 3-ring puppets. Can you see ring 1, ring 2, and a little ring at the bottom the size of your finger so that the puppet sits on your finger, and it's very versatile. You can move it around and use it. So to begin with, take a sheet of paper and use about a sheet of A4 size paper, and you can then use about 3 centimeters. 3 centimeters is a good measurement because if you take a regular size ruler, this is about 3 centimeters, just the width of your ruler. And you draw that line across and just cut it, as I'm going to do right now. Once you cut this little strip of paper, if you're using an A4 size paper, all you have to do is divide it in half. If you're using any other paper, if you have a paper of a smaller width, all you need is 2 strips that are about 12 to 14 centimeters long. Then just put a little bit of glue at the edge of the strip and stick it into a ring like this. So your 2 strips will give you 2 rings, and then with a little strip you make 1 ring that's just about the size of your finger. So this is the basic structure for any 3-ring puppet. Then look where the joint of your ring is and stick the 2 rings together, the 2 big ones together, and the little one at the bottom. That way you get a 3-ring structure like this. Once you have this 3-ring structure, you can make almost any kind of puppet that you like. Add a little pair of wings at the back for the bee. Just a little pair of wings cut out from a scrap of blue paper, just like this. And then 2 little eyes, a little mouth, and stick a flower in front and your bee puppet is good to go. And you can use it for show and tell. You can use it for a little theater, a story. Yesterday you had a storytelling session and there were straw puppets in that. You can also tell stories with little finger puppets. Just to show you how versatile these finger puppets are, I'll show you a range of designs that you can do with them. Here's a little elephant. So again, you can see the basic three-ring structure. Two rings of the same size and a little ring for your finger. All I've done is I've put in two flappy ears and a little trunk with tusks. Just stuck that on the front and you have an elephant. If you want a lion, there you have a lion. Again, a little mane, a face. I've drawn the paws on the body, and if you turn, we have a little tail at the back, but you can see again how it's your basic three-ring structure. Two rings, the same size, and a little ring at the bottom. Turn the three rings, add a pair of large ears, and you can turn the three things into a little rabbit, the three rings into a little rabbit. There you go. A little carrot, pink ears, a pink nose, and you have a little squiggly tail at the back. So you can see how different they look, and yet both are on the three-ring structure. So this is a really, really good structure to use for a little ring finger puppet. Here we have a little butterfly. If you're doing a project on the life cycle of a butterfly, you can have a little puppet like this. And it moves around as you tell a story. It can come up, it can go down, it can fly around. So these are really, really very versatile puppets to use. You can also use these finger puppets for your own little video shows. Say you love art yourself and you want to share art with your friends. You can make a little mascot. I've done this on the famous painter Frida Kahlo. A little portrait of hers. Again, she sits on my finger, but there it is, your three-ring structure. So you can see how easy it is to do these little ring finger puppets. I'll now show you a second type of puppet, and then we'll go back and revise the structure of each one. I hope that's fine, and I hope you find this enjoyable. I really love these little finger puppets. The second puppet I'm going to show you is a little talking puppet, like a Muppet. So that I use waste paper or newspaper. So I live in a village and the closest stationery shop is about 45 minutes away. And with the lockdown, it's even more difficult to access paper. So you can use any paper that's around you, newspaper, waste paper, paper that is packaging paper, that things you buy come in. So the more paper that you can reuse, the better it is. So the second puppet we are going to make begins with a sheet of newspaper. You begin by drawing a line 12 centimeters across, just a straight line 12 centimeters across. And then you draw an oval around it like a face. Keep this 12 centimeter line somewhere around where the ears would end on your face and draw a basic structure like this. You also need to cut out a little square that is 6 centimeters. Here measurements are important because the 6 centimeter square sticks on the two halves of the 12 centimeters. And I'll show you how. So once you draw your 6 centimeter square, You cut it out, and you also cut out the little face that you've drawn on the with the 12 centimeter line. Then you take the little 6 centimeter square and just stick it on a little piece of newspaper with a little bit of a border, just like this. Then, taking a scissor, cut the corners off. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you have a little shape like this. Just cut the corners off. Once you're done with that, draw some eyes on your face. It's always better to draw before sticking. So you can draw eyes and a little nose. Always better to draw before sticking, because once you stick, it becomes very unwieldy to draw. And now we're going to stick this as the mouth onto this and onto the lower part of the face, because we've cut our oval along that line into 2 parts. Along our 12 line, we've cut the oval and we've drawn eyes and a nose, and now we're going to stick the mouth. This part is a little tricky, so I'm going to show you a short video clip on how to do it so you can see it close up. On the video clip, you'll see how we stick that little square we cut. Glue the 4 sides, put a little glue on all the sides, and then first stick one edge to half of the face, and then stick the other edge on. And then repeat the same with the bottom part of the face. Just like that. As you're sticking, make sure you press down, press the paper, crease it so that it stays firmly in place. So you see, that is the basic structure of the puppet. So once again, just for a quick revision, we first draw along a 12 centimeter line and an oval around it like a face. Then, once we've drawn that, we cut that along the line. We cut out a 6 centimeter square, cut it out, stick it on a little background, and then cut the corners of that and then stick it as you saw on the video. Once you have that basic structure, the little basic structure that you saw, right? You can now put any kind of paper decoration on it to turn it into any sort of puppet that you want. So for example, here I have one where I've added a turban, eyes, an upward turning mustache, and a little shirt with sleeves and paper hands at the end. So here it is, a little talking puppet, right? So I'm going to show you the reverse now. So you can see it's just a piece of paper, and I've stuck that, as you can see. But here's an important thing to see. With scraps of paper, I've stuck 2 rings on either side of this mouth. And these rings help move the puppet because I put my finger in the rings like so, like this. And because of the rings, I get a better grip when I want to move the puppet. So just these little paper rings at the back, I'll hold it once more for you to see, help you move the little puppet. And you see, it's just waste paper, newspaper, scraps of paper, little bits of scraps for the buttons. And the hands are just 2 strips of paper. And you can see I've stuck them from the back like this. You can change the same basic structure. You can add something like this and change the personality of the puppet, right? You can change the personality of the puppet. So a little flower, a little bit of curly hair, and the same sleeves, and you change the puppet. These puppets are great for street theater. If you want to do some street theater, particularly now when we're doing things online, it's very difficult to do theater, role play, elocution, and these puppets are great for something like that. For storytelling, you can have them because of the rings. They're easy to hold. You can have them in either hand and you can have a little storytelling session with them. So this is the second kind of puppet, right? Just the basic structure. So now I'll show you a couple of slides just to revise what we've done so far. Just give me a minute to put that on for you. Okay, I think we're there. Right, so we spoke about designing paper puppets, and I am the author of an OUP book called Little Artists, and I love art and craft, and some of these ideas are things that I do with children at a school where I also run an art program. So this is a little picture of our school exhibition. This is how we made the finger puppet, the steps. First, you take our 3 strips of paper, about 3 centimeters wide and 12 to 14 centimeters long, and a little strip of paper the size of your finger. Then we turn the strips into 3 rings, 2 rings of the same size and a little smaller ring just the size of your finger. Then we stick the 3 rings together for our basic 3-ring structure as you see in picture 3. Once that is done, we can add a little bit of decoration with little scraps of paper, wings, some lines, feelers, and we have a bee puppet ready in a few minutes. We also saw a range of designs that we can do using this. A trunk, tusks, and flappy ears gives us an elephant. A mane and 2 legs give us a lion. We can have a little bird, a little parrot, or a parakeet. Can you see the little squiggly tail at the back and 2 wings? This is how we made our basic talking puppet. We drew a 12 centimeter line, an oval around it, and a 6 centimeter square. Then we cut along the 12 centimeter line, and we drew in the features for the face. Then we saw how to stick the 6 centimeter square onto a little piece of newspaper and cut the corners. And once the corners were cut, we watched the little video on how to stick them together. So a couple of things, just a couple of hints. Always, if you're sticking something or making a puppet, as far as possible, draw before you stick, because when we use sketch pens with glue, they tend to smudge. And also, once you've stuck something, it's very unwieldy to draw on it. Don't worry about little imperfections. That's what gives a work of art its individuality. So don't sit to draw, sort of want it very perfect. Don't erase a lot. Just go with what you've created and it'll look lovely. Save, save, and save. Save scraps of paper, save cardboard boxes, save pieces of string. All of these things will be very useful when you want to make paper puppets. As far as possible, work with waste paper. Always remember that trees give their lives for paper. You need very basic stationery. Don't worry if at this time you can't get any sort of fancy things to work with. A basic black pen, some glue, a pair of scissors along with the paper. That's about all you need. And always, always tidy up. This is a good studio habit, a good habit of all artists. Once you're done, always, always tidy up. So now we'll just move on and say a little bit, we'll say a little goodbye together. Now that you've seen a revision of the puppets, let's use the puppets to say a little goodbye. So I'm going to use some more of my finger puppets. So here we have one and it says, "See you later, alligator." Right? See you later, alligator. Sorry, just a minute. Somebody's asked questions. Can we use A4 size sheets? Is that right? You can definitely use A4 size sheets. They are easy to use. You can use any kind of paper, right? From newspaper, waste paper, packaging paper. Even for the puppet, I use newspaper because I like to reuse paper, but you could use any other paper that you want. I hope that answers your question. So let's go into our goodbye. Here we have an alligator. So see you later, alligator. Be sweet, parakeet. Can't stay, blue jay. Till then, penguin. Adios, hippos. Bye-bye, butterfly. And a little newspaper one. To your house, quiet mouse. And here I take your leave, my friends, because this is where my presentation with you ends. Bye-bye.